So before anything else, grab your blanket, load up on snacks, and get comfy, because this story starts with a warm little moment and slowly drifts straight into magic, mystery, and a whole lot of heart. The movie opens with Don, a young kid lying in bed, staring at an old family photo. He's missing his parents so much that he asks them to read him a fairy tale, something they used to do together all the time. The film slips into this cute fairy tale world where a tiny knight lives high above the clouds with his mom and dad. Their days are filled with laughter, games, and adventure, like the perfect life every kid dreams of. But one day, dark storm clouds roll in, lightning flashes everywhere, and the knight's parents have to leave to calm the storm. The story ends right there, and Don just stares at their picture again, eyes full of that quiet longing only a kid who misses his parents can feel. The next morning, Don's out with his friends. He's reading that same night story to them, excited like always, but the others? Yeah, they're bored. They've heard it so many times they can basically recite it themselves. And on top of that, they're playing baseball, and they've been losing nonstop. Their mood is already trash, so they end up walking away from Don, leaving him standing there with the book in his hands. Just then, Don's buddy Nerman shows up with his 3 goats. He tells Don to come with him to their little headquarters, the hangout spot the kids always use. One of their team members fell down, so they need Don to sub in. Don gives Nerman his fairy tale book to keep safe and heads into the game. Meanwhile, from far off, there's this strange, shadowy figure watching the kids play. Don doesn't notice, he's too busy chasing the ball across the field. He finally grabs it and gets super hyped, thinking maybe this time they might win. But nope, game over. They still lose. And Ada and his crew look down on Don like always, saying he's better at telling stories than actually playing. Nerman sees Don getting treated badly and feels heartbroken for him, so he runs over to comfort him. Nerman eventually spots a committee booth preparing for an upcoming performance festival. He suddenly gets an idea. Don should join. That way, Don can prove to everyone that he's not just a weird kid with a book, and that he can shine in front of the entire village. A moment later, their friend May shows up and tells them it's time to head home. But Don can't stop staring at that festival booth. You can see it in his face. He's thinking about joining. Across town, an electronics repair guy named Assel is fixing an old broken radio. That's when Ada walks in. Turns out this grumpy kid is Assel's little brother. Assel's leg is wrapped and hurting, but he refuses to go to the hospital because he's scared of the cost. He explains that the village head helped him with basic medicines and crutches, so he's trying to manage on his own. One of his customers notices a strange little box in the corner and finds out it's something Ada built from old lamps and radio pieces. The customer is impressed and tells Ada he should participate in the Children's Talent Festival. The prize money could help treat Assel's leg. Ada tries to act mature and uninterested, but that idea gets stuck in his head. Meanwhile, at Don's home, he's still unsure if he should join the festival. His grandma and the neighborhood aunties hype him up, telling him he's fantastic at storytelling. Then Don accidentally flips to the very last page of his fairy tale book. There, handwritten in his mom's handwriting, are song lyrics, with a little note from her. That's when everything changes. Don lights up with pure joy. His mom made him a song. That feels like a sign. He runs straight to May and Nerman, practically shaking with excitement. He wants May to design the costume and Nerman to help decorate the stage. He tells them he wants to prove to everyone who looks down on him that he can win, and that maybe, just maybe, winning will help him make new friends. Nerman is Don's best friend, so of course he's ready to help. But registration closes at 5 p.m. and time is almost up. Don sprints off after saying goodbye to his grandma. At the registration stand, Ada is already there trying to sign up, but the list is full. They tell him he has to wait until next year. Ada looks crushed. Moments later, Don and his friends arrive. They get the same rejection at first, but luckily, another committee member steps out and says one participant just withdrew. So Don gets the final spot. The 3 of them walk back home excited out of their minds, celebrating their big win. Then they run into Ada, who's drinking on the side of the road. He overhears that Don got in, and instantly snaps. The quota was full. How did Don make it? Fueled by jealousy, Ada snatches Don's fairy tale book right out of his hands. Don tries to get it back but fails. Ada walks off with it, leaving Don crushed. Back at their headquarters, Nerman suddenly remembers a trick called Sap Sap Sap, a move where you steal something from someone by distracting them. They decide to go get the book back, But before they head out, something unbelievable happens. Everything around them, books, tools, random objects, starts floating in the air. The kids freak out, but then they see her. It's a little girl spirit named Mary. Mary isn't scary at all. She's gentle and kind. She asks them for help. She explains that she used to rest peacefully with her parents, but someone destroyed their graves and kidnapped the spirits of her mom and dad. Before being taken, Mary's mother gave her a necklace that protects her. She asks the kids to help her find a special radio, the place where the kidnapper is storing her parents' spirits. Once she gets it back, she can be with them again. But Don refuses at first. He's upset and overwhelmed. He needs his book back. He needs to prepare for the festival. Why should he help someone else when his own dream is falling apart? May snaps at him, reminding him that Mary is separated from her parents. Just like Don could understand better than anyone, Mary tells Don she'll help him get the book if he helps her. She even shows her special ability. She can choose who can see her. If she doesn't want Ada to see her, he won't. That means she can sneak the book straight out of Ada's hands and he'll never even know. That promise changes everything. Don agrees to help Mary, hoping this might even lead him to his parents someday if spirits are real. Mary agrees to steal the book for him. At the same time, far away, the spirit kidnapper appears again, talking to someone over an old crackly phone line. He reports that there's a clue he can't dismantle. And based on everything we've seen, that clue is actually Mary's protective necklace. Her mother gave it to her before they were separated, and its magic keeps the kidnapper from absorbing her spirit. The caller on the other side of the line doesn't care. He wants the job done fast. They had an agreement, and the kidnapper promised him the land beneath the spirits. The pressure is on. Back in the normal world, Ada is sitting at the dinner table with his brother Asel, eating rice with egg and soy sauce. Ada quietly admits he was too late to register for the performance. He looks completely defeated. Asel tries to cheer him up, telling him that he can always join next year and not to stress over it. But Ada finally breaks down, saying the real reason he wanted to join was to win the prize money so he could help fix Asel's hurt leg. And right there, attitude and all, this tough little kid starts crying. Asel gently pulls him close, comforting him like a good big brother. Later in his room, Ada flips through Don's storybook, the one he stole. He pulls out the blank page, tears it carefully, and uses it to draw a picture of himself and his brother together. Even though he acts rough, he's full of love inside. Before bed, Asel reminds him that the next morning he has to go cut the plants at Mrs. Titan's house for extra money. Morning comes and the whole neighborhood is busy with construction for the big festival. Ada opens his shop for the day, and across the street, Don, May, Nerman, and Mary peek at him from behind a wall. Ada heads over to Mrs. Titan's yard, where she hands him his wages and tells him to clean up her garden until it's spotless. While Ada works, the kids spot his backpack sitting nearby. For a moment, they get too chatty, and May scolds them to be quiet before they get busted. As they're hiding, Mary suddenly floats over and slips the fairy tale book back into Don's hands. Mission completed. The kids run, but Don struggles climbing over the wall, almost getting caught by Ada. He finally makes it over, and they sprint away. Not long after, Don runs into his old teammates. He proudly tells them he's going to perform on stage and read his story in front of everyone. He hopes they'll come watch. Instead, they roll their eyes and complain they're tired of hearing his fairy tales. It stings. Mary sees Don's face and her heart aches for him. That rejection fuels Don's determination. He asks Mary for more help. He wants her to show herself during the performance to amaze the audience. If a real spirit appears, the show will blow everyone's mind. Mary hesitates, but eventually agrees. Just this one last time. Don promises that after she helps him, he'll help her find her parents, no matter what. The group starts brainstorming how to keep people from freaking out when they see Mary. May suddenly gets an idea and hands Mary a little costume to help make her look less spooky and more magical. Meanwhile, the kidnapper receives another call. This time he's warned he has only 2 days left to finish dismantling the graves and delivering the spirits. If he fails, the whole deal is off. That night, Don asks his family how his parents made the storybook in the first place. His grandmother tells him that when Don was little, his parents were traveling to meet a publisher. While they were on the trip, they decided to create a fairy tale just for him, so he wouldn't feel lonely. They wrote and designed the whole thing together. Then Grandma suggested they read it to Don themselves so he would feel their love. After they finished reading that night, Don's mother walked out of the room, and on her way out, she saw the little piano. Right then, inspiration hit her. She wrote that secret song and added it to the end of the book as a surprise for Don. Grandma gently tells him that even though his parents aren't here anymore, he isn't alone. He still has her, and he still has the fairy tale book that carries their love. Don gets emotional. He wants to make his parents proud on that stage. Morning arrives, and the trio starts prepping everything: vocals, stage decorations, costumes. But good sets cost money, so they join several mini competitions happening near the stage to earn cash. Lucky for them, they win enough to buy their materials. That evening, Mary smiles and says Don's lucky to have true friends like May and Nerman. Don explains that Nerman lost his own mother when he was very young. His father got sick, and now Nerman lives with his uncle and takes care of his goats. Don says sometimes he feels like Nerman and May are gifts from his parents in heaven, so he never truly feels alone. He also reveals that the storybook is the last thing he has from his parents. After reading it to him, they rush to catch a train early in the morning, when the rain was pouring and the roads were slippery. Then Don says the little knight in the story is just like him, left alone on Bubble Island when his parents went away. Mary finally shares her own story too. Before she was separated from her parents, they gave her the flower necklace. If all the flowers wilt, she won't be able to go home with them. She'll just disappear. Don promises her, with everything he has, that he will help her find her parents. Finally, the night of the performance arrives. Jumbo's team is ready. May opens the show, narrating the story, while Nerman handles the lighting and stage effects with help from his goats, who act as adorable extras. Then Don walks on stage in a shiny night costume. He begins singing the song his mother wrote for him, voice shaking at first, then becoming stronger with every note. And right on cue, Mary floats out and brings magic to the stage. People gasp, kids cheer, the entire crowd goes wild. Their show becomes the highlight of the night. The audience gives them a huge standing ovation. Jumbo's team wins. The MC announces they'll perform again tomorrow night at the grand finale of the festival. The kids explode with joy. Meanwhile, Mary quietly looks at her necklace. The flowers are almost fully wilted. She doesn't have much time left. Ada watches everything from afar, stunned that a group he underestimated actually won. After the celebration, Mary pulls Don aside. She wants him to fulfill his promise right now, to help her find her parents. Don hesitates, saying he'll do it after the peak performance tomorrow. He needs Mary for that show too. Mary stares at him in disbelief. That wasn't their deal. Don tries begging Mary to stay, telling her he needs her one last time for the big final show, and then he promises he'll look for the radio and help her find her parents. But Mary has had enough. She's tired, hurt, and feels used. Before Don can finish, she bursts upward and flies away into the night sky. From behind a fence, Ada sees everything. His jaw drops. He had always thought Mary was just some weird girl following Don around, but now he's staring at a glowing spirit girl actually floating above the rooftops. He can't believe what he's seeing. Mary doesn't look back. She's furious and heartbroken. Instead of waiting for Don, she decides to search for her parents on her own. Meanwhile, at the old clinic, the department head is treating Assel's injured leg. A moment later, Ada shows up, shaken and breathless. He tells his brother and the officials that Jumbo's team cheated, that they used a ghost to help them win the show. The department head pauses, listening closely. But he brushes it off, insisting there are no ghosts in their peaceful village. Nothing supernatural ever happens there. Then he changes the topic. He offers Assel a job, something stable and good, and says he can bring Ada along too. Maybe they can finally have an easier life. But inside the car, the department head, Mr. Cade, slips into deep thought. He looks at an old photo, him and his wife smiling. Then another memory flashes, his wife pregnant, then losing the baby. Then the day he was told her grave would be dug up because of a construction plan. The pain is still raw, even after years. And suddenly, Ada's words hit him like lightning. Ghosts. Spirits. A flying girl. Things that shouldn't exist, but maybe do. Because the truth is, the department head is the spirit kidnapper. He's been capturing spirits to keep them from wandering, trying to protect what's left of his wife's memory, trying to control life and death the only way he still can. Morning arrives. Don is already up, preparing for their practice. But his mind is locked on one thing, the performance. He's not thinking about Mary at all. May feels it. She sits quietly, sad and disappointed. She tells Don he already got what he wanted. He won, thanks to Mary. Now he should be helping Mary, not begging for more from her. Don ignores it and heads out. May and Nerman follow him, upset but still loyal enough to stay close. Meanwhile, Mr. Cade arrives with Ada and Assel at an old, half-abandoned warehouse. Assel still doesn't know what the job is supposed to be. That's when Mr. Cade brings out the radio, the same one used to trap spirits. He's planning to capture Mary. Inside the warehouse, Mary peeks through cracks in the wall and freezes. She sees Mr. Cade, and she sees the glowing spirits of her parents. She gasps and rushes out, thinking they're real. Don appears out of nowhere and shouts for her to stop. He tells her it's not real, that the spirits aren't truly her parents. But Mary is still angry with him and doesn't trust anything he says. May and Nerman jump into action, trying to distract Mr. Cade to free Mary. Don tosses his bag aside and runs to help Mary too. That's when Ada sneaks over and spots Don's bag. He pulls out the storybook he stole, planning to keep it. Don catches him and grabs the book. The two boys wrestle over it in the dirt, the book flying open. Pages rip loose, getting blown everywhere by the wind. At that same moment, Mary gets captured inside the radio. Mr. Cade grins, he finally has her. Assel, seeing things getting dangerous, tells Ada to go home. He promises he'll be all right and leave soon. Don collapses to the ground, trying to collect the scattered pages of his beloved storybook. Ada watches him, shoulders drooping, realizing just how badly things have gone. Don explodes with anger. He blames Ada, shouting that it's all his fault Mary got caught. May fires back, scolding Don. She says Don only thinks about himself. They had a deal from the beginning. If Mary brought back the book, Don had to help her find her parents. But Don kept dragging it out to make his show better. Nerman steps in and agrees. Don gets irritated that his friends are siding with Ada. Things get heated until Don shoves Nerman out of anger. That's the final straw. Nerman storms off, furious. May follows, saying Don never listens to anyone, he only wants to be heard. Meanwhile, Ada sits at home, staring at the village head's roll of paper he had picked up earlier. He unrolls it and suddenly runs out the door. At Don's house, Don sits with tears in his eyes. He apologizes to his grandmother, saying he always disappoints everyone. But Grandma gently tells him he never disappoints her. His stories light up their home. His uncle adds that stories have many roles: sad ones, funny ones, heroes, listeners. And if Don wants to be a good storyteller, he must also learn to be a good listener. Grandma adds, without listeners, stories are meaningless. Those words hit Don hard. He finally understands. He's been so focused on being heard that he forgot to hear others. Then, tap tap tap, something hits his window. Don thinks it's May or Nerman coming to forgive him. But when he opens the window, it's Ada. Ada steps inside and asks Don if he can tell him a story. He apologizes for everything: stealing the book, fighting, being jealous. He admits he envied Don's life, his cozy home, his loving family, his shelves full of books. He looks around Don's room with wide eyes. Compared to his own tiny, bare room, the difference is huge. Don has friends, warmth, everything Ada never had. For Ada, his brother Assel is all he's got in the world. Don apologizes too. And this time, he means it. But he tells Ada he doesn't want to just sit and feel sorry. He wants to fix things, help Mary and help Assel too. Ada nods. He's ready to help. At their secret base, May and Nerman try to figure out where Mary could be. Don and Ada rush in. Don tells them he knows exactly where she is. Nerman is still upset, but Don apologizes sincerely. After a moment, Nerman sighs and forgives him. May does too. Even Ada joins the team officially. They unroll the paper Ada found and discover it's a map. Together, they rush off. Meanwhile, the festival committee waits on stage for Jumbo's team. The show is about to start, but the kids are nowhere to be seen. Deep in the forest, the group sees a bright light near the warehouse and duck behind some bushes. They form a plan instantly, a scary fake show to spook the village head. They create noises, shadows, and pretend monsters. Mr. Cade panics, overwhelmed by the illusions, and they manage to knock him over and grab the radio. But he quickly gets back up and snatches the radio again. He threatens them, saying that if they don't obey, he will make Mary disappear forever. Don gets an idea. Using his sap sneak attack technique, he leaps in, grabs the radio, and breaks away from Mr. Cade. At the same time, Ada reaches Assel and asks for his brother's help to pull off the final rescue plan. Don hides behind some crates, opens the radio, and pulls Mary out of it. They reunite, relieved, until Don tosses the radio aside carelessly. And Mr. Cade grabs it again. Before he can trap Mary a second time, May, Ada, and Nerman rush in to help. Don and Mary sprint away with the group right behind them. Frustrated, the village head calls up the spirits of Mary's parents again, sending them floating after her like ghostly hunters. They all tumble down the hillside. May quickly shouts that Mary's parents wore jasmine necklaces just like hers, meaning they're still connected to her somehow. Don instantly snaps into leader mode. He splits the team. He and Nerman will distract Mary's parents and break the village head's control, while Ada gets Don's fairy tale book. Don hands it over, telling Ada to use the loose pages to take down the village head. Ada nods, gripping the book like it's a weapon. But the village head gets furious. He fires up the radio again, trying to drag Mary back inside. And Mary's necklace, it's almost totally wilted now. When the last blossom dies, she disappears forever. Don suddenly freezes. He's standing there with the one last blank page from his parents' precious book, the very last memory he has left of them. It's either save the page or save Mary. Don chooses Mary. He throws the page straight at the ghostly forms of Mary's parents. The paper catches fire in the wind, and that fire breaks the village head's spell. Slowly, Mary's parents' eyes clear. They look around, finally free, finally themselves again. Mary rushes into their arms, crying with relief. Don steps back. His book, the thing he treasured more than anything, is burning away. But he doesn't care. Those memories of his parents will always live in him. And right now, his friends matter more. The village head loses it. All his plans are falling apart. And suddenly, the truth comes out. Everything he did, all the graves he tried to disturb, every spirit he captured, it was all revenge. When his wife died, no one helped him. No one stood by him. He felt abandoned, crushed, and bitter. So he decided everyone in the village should feel that same pain. If his wife's spirit couldn't rest, then no one else's would either. But he doesn't realize he's walking right into another trap. Don and his friends purposely lead him toward the festival stage. When he storms in, ranting and raging, the mic picks up every word. The crowd hears everything, his anger, his revenge plan, all the ghost stealing. The whole village stands there in shock, finally seeing who their leader really is. After that, the kids rush back to Mary's burial place. Don holds the radio, Mary holds her parents' hands, and suddenly the ground shakes. A glowing portal opens, their way home. Mary steps inside with her parents. She looks back at Don and the others with a soft smile, thanking them for being the truest friends she ever had, for giving her a way home. Don wishes her the best, even though he clearly doesn't want her to leave. The portal closes. A single fresh flower grows where Mary vanished. A year passes. And now it's Nerman and the team's turn to shine on stage. Don has changed a lot. Instead of being the one always trying to be the star, he's the one helping backstage, supporting his friends. Ada's there too, helping out with the set. Nerman performs a story about a witch and her 3 magic goats. Don watches proudly, happy that his friends are shining and that he's finally become the kind of friend his parents would have been proud of. Later, Don's uncle talks about how he and his childhood friends used to help each other too. Grandma shows Don an old photo, and one of the kids in the picture is Mary. She was Grandma's childhood friend. That night, Don tunes the radio, trying to find that magical frequency again. He kinda hopes Mary will come back, or at least say something. But nothing happens. He sighs and gives up. And then, a voice comes through. Singing. So familiar. It's his parents. They leave him one last message. Stay kind, stay brave, take care of Grandma, and always be a good friend. Don tears up hearing them, but he's not sad anymore. Because he knows they're proud of him. He still has friends who love him. He still has a family. And now, even Ada is part of that circle. Their bond is stronger than ever. And that's how this wild, magical, emotional journey wraps up, with friendships stronger than ghosts, memories stronger than loss, and Don finally becoming the hero of his own story.